WDB's House Whisperer Show right here at Talk 860. Stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your house from the roof to the basement, featuring the guy who tells us that every house has a story, Home Inspector Jack Milne. I'm Barry Reisman, and Jack, I have to say, before we even begin, I have to say a happy 30th anniversary on your company.
Well, Barry, thank you. And, thanks for reminding me because I've been in a flurry. But July 12th, today, is the 30th anniversary of Tri-County Inspection Company. We have conducted over 75,000 properties in 30 years. And, and for what I call a small independent home inspection company, they're just incredible numbers, and I am totally blessed with having an excellent secretarial staff, a typing team, and just very good home inspectors. And I want to thank them all, too, today, because without them, this company wouldn't be as successful as it is. And every one of us have a true passion for what we do. And I think anything, Barry, in life, if you don't mind going to work, it's like going out to play.
That's for sure. They say if you like what you do, you never work a day in your life.
It's so true. And I can't believe that I started with a cell phone. We call it car phones back in 1985. That cost $1,500.
Yep.
And working out of a daytimer, to having a full staff, that just helps us through the day. So, and Barry, that was very kind, and thank you for that. And happy birthday, Tri-County. So, before I kick in, I was reading an article the other day, and it kind of took shivers down my spine. I'm only going to talk about it briefly, but the heading was "Interest-Only Loans Brought Back." And I'm just going to read real quick. But the second largest provider of U.S. mortgages through brokers is bringing back a debt type that's almost disappeared since the financial crisis, interest-only loans. The company, United Wholesale Mortgage, plans next month to expand access to the mortgages to borrowers beyond the wealthiest Americans who use so-called jumbo loans. On a $300,000 loan, this translates to a monthly cost of $1,031 versus $1,326 or $1,454 per month. Assuming no change in rate on the interest-only loan, which can climb as much as 2% annually and 5% total, payments jump to $1,838 after 10 years. Folks, do me a favor. Do not even think about interest-only loans. The only person who wins this is the bank. When you go to sell your house in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you will have absolutely no equity in your home. Please, this is what brought the financial crisis to a head back in 05 and 06. Subprime mortgages was another. I thought that finally the banking industry was getting it right, and now I read this. So, like I said, that one raises the hair on the back of my neck. So if there's any mortgage companies out there that are pushing these interest-only loans, please ask them for other programs or walk out the door. So, but getting back to topic, whenever I meet my clients, there's always two questions on their mind. What's the condition of the roof, and is the basement wet? The roof is a simple question to answer. In most cases, the roof situation can be completed within the first maybe half hour of the inspection. Basements are much more complex, and wet basements can also cause a variety of issues, which is why my topic today is my basement wet? So before I kick in, of course, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Burrow Exterminating, Rob Bruno out of Glen Olden, Pennsylvania. Please reach out to him if you need any termite or radon testing. Their number is 610-586-5640. Bucksmont Inspections. Again, anything that deals with on-site sewage systems. If you live in the country and you've got extra lush grass, as our days are getting hotter and drier, you better make a phone call. The 215-669-4213, and their website is bucksmontinspections.com. For Burrow Exterminating, I apologize, Rob. Your website is burrowexterminating.com. Pest Blaster, they get involved in radon testing, mold testing, with destroying inspections, and, of course, pest removal. And if you have a wet basement, folks, and you have anything that we translate as biological organisms, reach out to Mike Cantor at 215-295-5555. Simple mold testing can run about $4.25. Larger homes about, I think, $4.75. So well worth it to find out. Their website is pestblaster.com. Brainflushgear.com. Again, we're heading to Maine in literally another week or so. So we are going to enjoy the hills and valleys, and I've got people come from California, Michigan, Wisconsin, and across the upper part of the country, and we're meeting in a town called Eustis, Maine. But again, all of our gear is always manufactured by BrainFlushGear.com. So contact at BrainFlushGear.com is their email. Reach out. They can make you something as crazy as they do for us. And again, Tri-County Inspection Company, happy birthday to us. Website tcinspect.com. Phone numbers, we're in 15 counties, folks, but I never wanted that 1-800 impression. I'm at 215-295-2030, Delaware County, 610-296-2004, 610-346-7880. Will find us in the Lehigh Valley, and South Jersey, 856-853-4224. So reach out to a good home inspection company. We're 30 years old today. I guarantee we're going to be there hopefully 30 years from today. So as always, please thank the sponsors. Let them know that you've heard they're out on the House Whisperer Show. And again, all previous shows are available at thehousewhisperershow.com. Like I said last week, I am referring more and more of my clients to this website because there's so many things that are on that site that can help you with your home on an everyday basis. And emails like below, can be sent to thehousewhisperershow@gmail.com. So today's email was from Lori in Newtown, Pennsylvania. She had a great question. The real estate market in my area has been very busy. As I drive, not only in my own neighborhood but others, real estate signs are everywhere. Jack, I'm thinking of listing my home now so my kids can still be ready for school by September. The market as it is now, is it a good time to sell? And, all I can say is, wow, Lori, what a great question. As it's now mid-July, to sell your home and to have your kids in school by Labor Day could be difficult, unless you plan to stay in Newtown, which is, by the way, a great place to live. So if you plan to stay in the community, go ahead and list your home. But make sure that you make your house what I call listing ready. Clean it, remove the clutter, remove any of the yard distractions, so that curb appeal will make your home as distinctive as possible. And as a home inspector, all levels and prices of homes are selling right now. So eventually, with the market as hot as it is, the interest rate may raise enough to put a little bit of the water hose on the fire. So, Lori, good luck with your decision. And, folks, please send me any emails at thehousewhisperershow@gmail.com. And, of course, podcasts are available 24/7 through www.dbam.com. So let's get started. Is my basement wet? Now, God gave us 5 senses: touch, eyesight, speech, hearing, and the sense of smell. Use your nose and open up the basement door, a crawl space opening, and take a deep whiff. When I conduct a home inspection, I always start outside to get my senses in order, come in and do the necessary paperwork that's required, and then I head right to the basement. And when I open that door, and if my nostrils are flaring, there is a chance of a moist or wet basement. And if you're buying the home, look at the things that cannot be moved off the floor. Look at the support columns that hold up your beam. Look at the bottom of stairwells, or what we call stair horses. Look at personal items. especially things in cardboard. Are they found on pallets, or are they raised off the floor for some other reason? And I also, I'm trained to look at the furnace. I'm looking at the water heater. Is the washer and dryer on pallets? What's the moisture look like around the foundation walls? And, all of these are a pretty good sign that the basin has had water or what we call moisture intrusion. Now, a basement is really defined as a swimming pool under your home. So if you think about it, whenever you excavate 8 to 10 feet below the earth, depending on the makeup of the foundation, be it stone, block, brick, or poured concrete, there's always a chance for water. I mean, in the old days, we kind of live with it. We used to have what are called cellars, and that's not someone selling a home. It's a cellar to me is always kind of musty and dank and damp, and you can't stand erect. You got to find your happy spot between the joists. But, today's basements are really designed for potential living space, and that's why builders today put in some pits, but not necessarily some pumps. So, Barry, why don't we break real quick for our commercials and listen to what our sponsors have to say, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about simple things to look for, but also how we can correct these deficiencies.
Okay, we're going to do that. You're listening to the House Whisperer Show. Jack Milne is here. We're talking about basements, and hopefully yours isn't one of them that's wet. We'll be right back right after these very important messages.
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created T-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today, and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperer Show.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 30 years. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They have performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. Call 215-295-2030 or 856-853-4224.
As the temperatures gradually rise, so do the odds of all those filthy and unwanted critters invading your home like rodents, roaches, termites, and flies. Oh my. This summer, if you want to feel safe and secure from a possible creeping, crawling disaster, do yourself a favor and call the exterminating experts at Pest Blaster for all your pest control needs, including tests for radon and mold. Please visit pestblaster.com and you'll be sold. 215-295-5555.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house.
Okay, we're back. It's the House Whisperer Show at WWDB. Jack Milne is here talking about basements. Is your basement wet? Then, Jack, let's pick it up.
Thank you, Barry. And again, basements are subterranean. They barely get any light, and if they do, they're usually through kind of fairly cheap foundation windows that cost about $20 20 years ago. They can tend to be dank. They're places that we don't tend to visit real often. We tend to put sometimes, our furnace down there, a water heater, electric panel. Sometimes we put our kids down there. But today, basements are becoming more and more like living spaces. So the building codes changed in 2012, where that now if you finish your basement, you must have a second means of egress, which is for fire safety. That's a second way out. Which must be done by either a Bilco door or a foundation window. So now, again, with my clients, Jack, I want to finish the basement. Is it wet? So today, and we talked about what to look for, but now let's see what we can do to correct it. And I always tell my clients, start outside, okay? Basement waterproofing companies make their money inside. They don't like to look outside because the things that they can do to correct their basement, to correct your basement, they're not making anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 or more. So, what are the common factors that lead to water? Number one are gutters. If your gutters are full of debris, they're pitched improperly, and they're not extended away from your home, think about it. If your gutters overflow, you're putting water within 12 inches of your foundation wall. So no matter what the makeup of the foundation, you have a higher chance of getting water intrusion. So if you need to, put in leaf relief gutter guards, extend those downspouts at least 3 to 5 feet away from the foundation. And if you don't want to do gutter guards, just make sure they're kept clean. If you find that your gutters are being overwhelmed, you can consider commercial guttering. Residential gutters 4 inches wide. Commercial gutters are 6 inches wide. That's what I use on my home, and that's what I use on my business. I want to get the water away from the building. So it is a proven fact that as long as your water drains away from the foundation wall, it's very hard for the water to filter back. So that's number one. Number two, look at your soils. Okay, if the soil against your foundation is either flat or negative, you're going to introduce water back. Look at your window wells. If during a heavy rain you can put goldfish in your window well, then guess what? They're not draining. And I have seen houses during severe rains where the water table is 6 to 8 inches above the window. It's amazing that this water doesn't work its way past the window. But we now can provide drains in our window wells that we can actually bring back into the house and lead them to a sump pit. So that there are ways of doing that. And finally, the biggest thing is plantings. If the plantings are overgrowing your house and you decide to pull the plant, of which you should, you want to grade to a point, maybe twice, where the water will drain away. What about your rear patio? Does it pitch away from the home, or is it level, or worse, does it pitch back? If it's pitching back, you have this constant source of water coming against your foundation wall. And keep in mind, folks, that the corners of the home are always the weakest area to allow water intrusion. But it's also the heaviest part of the building. And think about it. Where are your downspouts? Your downspouts are in the corners. So do me a favor and check your corners. And if they are damp, chances are those downspouts have not yet been extended. If you have underground drainage systems, honestly, when was the last time that they were ever flushed out, if at all? And if you see this white pallor on your block foundation walls, or you see where the lime is emitting by your stone, this is called efflorescence. And keep in mind, folks, it's not a fungus or a mold, but it is generally an indicator of moisture. Now, I've often been contacted by concerned homeowners that are ready to sign away like $8,000 to $10,000 to have a professional dewatering system installed. And in most cases, if you follow the simple rules of the roof, guttering, and grade, most situations can be resolved. But the fourth item, which is difficult to correct, is what we call hydrostatic pressure. And that's where water comes up through the basement slab when the soils are saturated. And, you know, and you'll notice this because if you have any hairline cracks in your slab and you see that you get this little trail of moisture, folks, that is hydrostatic pressure. And if you live in areas like Buckingham Springs and any other Laurel Springs, and I know of a couple other small towns that have those names, Medford Lakes, I love that name. Folks, these areas have high water tables. That's why they have those nice names after the city and town of which you may be residing. So if you find that it is coming to a point that you have to hire the professional, as I always like to say with any and all contractors, do your homework and verify, one, how long they've been in business, two, check the Better Business Bureau, and most important, obtain referrals both from the contractor or from friends. And if your basement is unfinished, the job is actually relatively easy. What the contractors do, they'll jackhammer about 16 inches away from the foundation to get to the footings. And it's the footings that actually support your home. What they're going to do is dig down probably close to a foot, foot and a half, and they're going to add what we call 3/4 inch modified stone. Then they're going to install 4-inch perforated PVC or ABS plastic piping, and it's flexible so they can turn corners. They have to provide the necessary pitch to lead to the sump pit. They're going to add a felt paper or some type of a finish that will allow water past it, more stone, and then finish with cement. In case of power loss, they may suggest a battery backup sump pump system. I've been strongly encouraging the water-actuated sump pump backup system, but if you have a well, you'll have to go back to the battery backup. If you do have a battery backup system currently, you have to put water in the battery cells every 3 months. Because if you don't do that, I cannot tell you with any certainty how long that pump will work in a backup mode if the cells are dry. And you must utilize a marine grade battery because you can almost take those batteries down to zero. And then have them fully charged with a trickle charger. So, again, when I see battery backup systems, I do tell my client that keep in mind this battery may work for 20 minutes or it could work for 4 hours. So, now, let me bring this point up. What if your basement does not take on water but is just musty? So, sometimes all you need may be a dehumidifier. Now, dehumidifiers use as much electricity as a refrigerator, and that's incredible because a refrigerator is one of the largest appliances in your home. But a dehumidifier takes moisture out of the air, and with this summer already being as kind of wet and humid as it has been, a simple humidifier can dry the air out and make your basement a better place to visit. If you can drain the humidifier to the sump pit, which has its own pump, good job. But if need be, a condensate pump behind the humidifier a dehumidifier can pump any necessary water anywhere you want. It can go outside. It can go to the laundry sink. It can go to a standpipe in your public sewage system, which, by the way, is allowed. They don't want you putting your sump pump into the public sewage system, but you can utilize a dehumidifier. So set the level of dehumidification according to your needs. Most houses I've seen are anywhere between 45 and 55%. Check your dehumidifier. If you cannot put it into a condensate pump, you must plan to check it every 2 days, and especially with these humid days. I used to use one years ago, and it seemed like every Monday I was emptying it because I was working from my home. I would put the dehumidifier on over the weekend. But I did a home inspection a number of years ago for a young woman who was in a wheelchair, and she had a damp crawl space. So that was the idea I gave her, was to buy an older school dehumidifier that had the bucket in the back, and then I put a condensate pump in it. And I'll tell you, folks, I took my own advice, and for about 17 years, I did not empty my dehumidifier.
Hey, Jack, on that happy note, we are out of time.
So, well, if you follow the rules, I want you to make sure that we make and turn your basement into smell like roses than of mold. So, as it is Sunday, please spend time with friends and family next week. Again, July is Safety Month, so I got a lot of great topics to check around your own home. So I look forward to talking to everyone next week on The House Whisperer.
In the meantime, everybody go down and smell your basement. Make sure it smells all right. Tune in again next week for another edition of the House Whisperer Show with professional home inspector Jack Milne. And to listen to previous programs, or if you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com. I'm Barry Reisman on WWDB. Once again, wishing Jack Milne and Tri-County Inspection a happy 30th anniversary. We'll talk to you next week, everybody, Sunday morning at 11 o'clock.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so